So I have with me today, my favorite CEO, team leader, general manager, whatever other title you have, Mr. Tony Fletcher.
Who knows?
Yeah, here he is. I'll have to pick Tony's brain. Let's get the show started. Okay, Tony. So we're on the shift. Here it is. I'm just going through this shift because it's what I have in my hand, Tony. I don't have anything else. So if you don't mind, I would like to go through shift tactic number 5, chapter number 5, and then pick your brains. Give me some feedback because you're very killerized. But really, why I'm going through this book, Tony, is because we are in a shift, a real big shift. Maybe actually, that's my first question. Do you think we're going into a wholesale market, or do you think we're going into a correction market? What are things looking like for us, Tony? In your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, right now in our area, it's on fire. There's just not enough inventory to keep up with buyer demand, and where interest rates are at record lows, we just don't have enough inventory. Until that inventory story changes, I mean, the demand is up, but if there's no inventory, then at some point it's going to hit demand. But the buyers are out there. I mean, it's not changing. The more that we open up the economy, the more people are going to hit the market. So hopefully sellers will start to feel more comfortable in having people in their homes and showings. And I think as agents, especially at my office, we've really, our agents have figured it out. They figured out the forms and they figured out the protocols, and they're working. So, but we need more inventory. So until there's more inventory, I don't think anything's going to change.
So Tony, let's get so chapter 5, tactic 5 of the shift book is all about lead conversion, which is so important. But I want to go into the 21st century of lead conversion right now, because we can all buy leads, and we've all done it before. And like you said, competition is rife right now. It's tough. It's not going to be easy. So even though you have a lead, the most important is to convert the lead to a close. So I'm going to go through the book quickly. I want to read some highlights that I really enjoyed hearing about, Tony. There's 2 things that we know of, okay? Generating leads and converting leads to an appointment. That face-to-face contact. That to me is really so important, because that's why I think open houses were so vital, but we couldn't do them. And then when you get a lead, whether you get it from social media or a lead generating engine, to get that face-to-face time is vital. It's priceless, because there's so many ways for people to ignore you. Even if you send them an email, even if you call them and you text message them. I think the most communicative way is text messaging. For some reason, they'll say stop, or they'll say, yes, I'm interested, or contacting me later. But I guess text messaging is really it. I want to keep moving on, Tony, go through some of these pages. I've got a lot of highlights here, Tony, but a lot of this is just kind of a refresher. It really is just kind of letting you understand why it's so important to convert that lead. And we know why, because that's how you get paid. Right. So I love this. Here's a nice story, Tony. I have a friend who is a fisherman. He loves to joke with others when they say they like to go fishing. He says, you do? I like to go catching. He makes a good point. You know what I mean, Tony? You can chase. But if you can really flip the switch and figure out how to seal the appointment instead of looking for one or trying to hunt for one, getting one, it's a mind shift. And I do believe once it all changes up here, your whole dimension changes. Right. Which it's easier said than done, Tony, but really at the end of the day, it's all a mindset. It really is. Right, Tony?
Well, it's a process. I mean, people have to understand that, just because you get a lead doesn't mean that they're going to buy today. Right. Doesn't mean they're going to buy tomorrow. They might not buy for 6 months. They might not buy for a year, but you have to have a plan around following that lead up until they convert.
Right. So here in the shift book, Tony says, ultimately, the key to success in setting appointments boils down to 2 things: knowing what to say, then knowing what to do. So Tony, this is so important. I know where this is leading to scripts, but you know this, Tony. If you don't know what to say, you're not going to seal the deal.
Right.
So at the end of the day, scripts do help, Tony. I'm not saying, I know in the past, I always tried to reinvent the script. What I learned was just regurgitate it till you know it. Then once you're on the phone, it actually transforms itself. You don't have to do that. But I think a lot of agents, what they do is they don't want to use a script because they think they know better. Ultimately, the script is just, it's a foundation. It's a platform to launch from. Because once you take off, you're all over the place. You have to kind of mirror and listen and focus on what your client or what the person's saying to try and get the appointment to seal the deal.
Right.
That's more. At least cost us money. This is from Jana Coden in Crumpton, Illinois. So we really do need to hold each other accountable. Well, that's why we have you, Tony. I know that lots of agents are reaching out to you daily, asking for your advice, your guidance, your support. And how many agents, Tony, that you've been working with over the past few months are now seeing results? Because they didn't see results in the beginning, right? Or did they, Tony?
As far as new agents or?
No, agents lead generating. So they're not quarantined. They don't know what to do. You're saying, oh, no, keep being busy in your business.
Right.
And now they're seeing results.
I mean, our pipeline has exploded over the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so. It's someone just, one of our leadership staff said to me, I have to make the flyer bigger to show all the stuff that's on there, all the pinnings and new listings and all that. So
wow,
our piece of paper we have won't hold it. So it's going to become a second piece of paper. So that's all. I mean, really, that's all you need to know. That's it. You can just watch it. And I've watched it over the last month, little by little by little by little, just get to, I mean, if you look at the numbers between this year and last year, our July looks better than our last July.
Wow.
I don't know if people remember, and I think that we sometimes forget that last year, the rates were up a little bit. It kicked a lot of people out of the market, and a lot of agents did really, really well in 2018, and so a lot of them coasted in 2019 and on average didn't do as well. Didn't need to. They made a lot of money in 2018, and so as people pushed back on rates and wanting to spend more money on a monthly basis, agents, didn't sell as many houses. So when you look at this year's 2020's July numbers versus 2019's numbers, we look better.
So Tony, I know it's all about your agents, because it is all about your agents, because that's how you get paid, and that's how you have success in your markets that you oversee. Are you seeing that the newer agents are taking more territory, or are you seeing it's the seasoned agents that have been around that really have kept their consistency, or is it a mixture of both, Tony?
I mean, it's a mixture of both, but I will tell you that I've seen, not just at our brokerage, but at other brokerages, and, I study the market, and, agents that are experienced and do good business, I think all over the place have taken additional territory away from newer middle type agents. It's very fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
Because they know it. They know what's going on because they're living it. And they know they're taking territory that will never be reclaimed.
Wow. So Tony, that's interesting and I don't believe in this at all. Fake it till you make it. I think that's complete BS. You have to know what you're doing in order to be successful.
Right.
Tony,
you have to attend the training. You have to understand the market. You have to understand clients and follow up and lead generation and all those things. You have to have your foundation set. However you set it, whether it's through a mentor or a coach or through somebody. I always ask the question.
Courses, classes, training. Yeah.
I always ask the question, who's helping you? Who's helping you with your business right now? For many, many agents, the answer is nobody.
So they have no support, no wingman or wing person or go-to person. Wow, Tony.
I've heard it so many times over the last 3 months that office managers aren't around. Nobody's there to ask questions. Offices are locked up. We had somebody here all the time. We were down to, one person, but we still had somebody here every single day.
Wait, hold on, Tony. Are you at the market? Are you at your office right now? One of your offices?
Yeah.
So you're not at home. You're at the market center?
I'm at the office.
Wow. I'm at home. Okay. Damn, Tony. Wow. Look at that. I commend you, Tony. I commend you. You know me. I don't need to kiss about that. And I keep telling you that because I do. I think that I just sometimes, I know you're so real and I'm trying to share that with the world. And maybe I do too much and I'm okay with that.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it too.
Because you've been very good to me and you've given me a lot of certainty in my life. So I appreciate that. Tony, I want to carry on, please, with
Sure.
the shift. There's another on page 93. Let's get to the table, okay? There's one thing I really found that I liked, okay? That Gary Keller says he found the best scripts are the most straightforward ones. Get down to business. So you like your home, great. Let's put an offer in.
Yep.
How simple, Tony, it's so simple. Don't get too, if they like the home, great. Let's put in an offer. Here's a story. One of the reasons he never carries a business card, which I love this, by the way. This is such a good upsell, is that he doesn't want to lie. What he does is when somebody asks him for his card, he replies and smiles and pulls out his pen and points it. This is back 2010. We're in cell phone era right now, Tony. He asks him, I'm sorry, I don't have a business card on me, but what is your name and address? I can send you one. You know, this is just a lead capturing tool. I mean, but it still works today. I've got my cell phone in front of me. Give me your number, Tony. I'll text you my contact details right now. Now I've got your name, Tony, and I've got your cell phone number.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just, and if it's not real, you're not going to give me details. But it is real. Most of the time it is. People don't have to lie, Tony.
It's the same but it's the same concept, and I think that we just have to, those are little things. I was just talking to an agent before we started. A lot of these trainings and this book, when you read through this stuff, a lot of it is going to just be refreshers, reminders. Oh, I haven't done that for a long time, and just really making sure that you're staying on track.
Right, exactly. And Tony, we forget very, very easily. Honestly, we do. We forgot what we did last week, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? We move on. So I'm kind of towards the end here, Tony. This is on Content Connect. Sorry, it's how to use a script. There's 5 basic ways. Very simple, Tony. First one, get the script.
Right.
Get it in front of you. Second one, don't talk. Ask great questions. Of course, Tony. When you ask great questions, it makes you sound like you know what you're doing. So you can't fake it, Tony. Listen with good intentions. As real estate agents, we're not perfect, but we do intend to do the right thing most of the time. Mimic, mirror, and match. That's one thing I've learned, Tony. If I've learned anything from my training and coaching, is mirror the other person. That's how you win them over. And then the 5th thing, practice daily. I know the guys like Ben Kinney. I know the guys like the Theon. I'm thinking of other agents that I know. Exactly. Even Chris Heller. Every day they read the scripts in front of them all day long. Kamal, if you're watching this, you're one of those. There's the other character, Kamal, Tony. Man, this guy, he's a master on the phone, still had a script in front of him. That's just how it was. Right. Tony, the 6 connecting questions, I'll end it just so we can we've covered a lot. So these are connecting questions is, who are they? Well, that's kind of simple. That's the first thing. Number 2, what do they want or need to do? Tony, of course they want the home that they want, but what do they need to do to get that home that they want?
Right.
Maybe they cannot afford that home. So you show them that the home that they really want, which is pricey, but then you show them a home that they can afford, which is the middle of the range. And you show them another home, which is kind of the okie dokie home, and they don't want that. We always want something that they really can't afford or want more than what they really need. And you help them along the way. Number 3 is, where do they want or need to do it? Okay, interesting. Why do they want or need to do it? This is recorded, Teddy. I'm going to move on, Tony, because it's kind of it gets a little bit repetitive, and I think we've already covered that. Tony, we're in a shift. There's 10 ways to do a classic close at work. I don't think there's 10 anymore. I think there's just a few. I think, again, the shift was written in 2010. What I'm trying to say, Tony, is that we've had to become minimalists.
Right.
We have had to funnel our content because it becomes too much.
Right.
Social media is too much. Our businesses, our jobs are just too much. So we have to simplify. What I do like is that there's a hard close, there's a soft close, there's a direct close, there's an indirect close. Those are the kind of top 4. Then we get to number 5, which is the trial close. Number 6 is the assumptive close. Number 7, the negative.
My favorite, by the way, the assumptive close, by the way.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I can see that. One thing that my mother taught me, she learned this in her MBA, Tony, is don't expect to assume anything. Now, I like what she said, and let me just clarify, Tony, I like what she said. However, you're right, it does make sense. You've got to expect to assume where you're going. You cannot just wing it. You cannot,
Right.
think, oh, I'm going to do this task today just because I'm going to do it. No, I'm doing this task today because I expect to get results, and my results might be 10x factor. That's okay. So it's interesting. Her MBA she did probably 25, 30 years ago. I remember her teaching me that back then. That doesn't compute in today's era. Today, everything you have to set a goal and a standard to at least accomplish, and maybe you don't accomplish it, but maybe you do, or maybe you 10x it. But you've got to set a standard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you listen well enough to what people are saying to you, you can be very assumptive in your goal. There's no reason for you to sit down with someone if you're not being assumptive that you're going to get that business or recruit that agent or help somebody or coach somebody. You have to be assumptive on what you're going to be doing.
Absolutely. It's just interesting how times have changed, hey, Tony. Like 30
It's
years
amazing.
ago, you don't expect to see anything. Today, it's like, oh, no. I've got results. I've got a goal I want to accomplish.
Right.
Point number 8, the take back close. Number 9, the tie down close. And number 10, the alternative choice close. I think really we can condense that. And I'm saying that from my perspective and my point of view. I think we're a much smarter audience today. I think real estate agents have got amazing training and talent, especially Keller Williams and some of the agencies out there like EXP. They really focus heavy on mentoring and coaching and grooming for excellence and training, which I think is great. And for you, because you run so many market centers, Tony, you know that your agents can't wing it.
No, you can't. And look, you just gave 10 different types of closes. You don't need all 10. You need to be aware of all 10 so that you can use them when needed. Right. But for the most part, you need to become a master at 2 or 3 of them.
Absolutely.
And here's where more than anything I hear is that, first of all, people just don't close. I don't know why people don't close anymore. I hear it. I can hear it. I can be in the office and I can hear people talking to clients and I never hear a close. And I'm waiting for the close. I never hear it.
Tony, that is so fascinating because you just reminded me when I was back in 2012, when I was being coached, I was going through 6 months of training for my real estate to go out into the field. I remember I'd do the cold calling, Tony, and I spent like sometimes 20 minutes on the phone with the person, listening to them and agreeing with them because they were disgruntled or they hated real estate agents, but I never went in for the close. Right. Tony, there was a turning point I remember where I got it. I knew that I had to just get my foot in the door, and I just pushed my way through the door, and they were shocked.
Yep.
And they were okay with it. But what I'm trying to say is, you're right. We don't go for the close. I think that's maybe we're sabotaging ourselves, or maybe that's the disconnect, or that's the insecurity factor, whatever it may be. Again, you have to keep trial by error. You have to keep doing until eventually you get it. But I remember there was a turning point for me, but I didn't see it until it hit me.
Right.
They wouldn't even then I got it. Until then, I'm like, how come I haven't been doing that all this time? But because it was easy, Tony. I didn't ask for the appointment. I was on the phone with people all day long. I wasn't asking for the appointment. All of a sudden, when I asked for the appointment, I got the appointment, Tony.
Right. It can be very simple. I mean, when I came into the business, we had a week-long training class that culminated in an open house and on a Sunday. And on the Friday, the last thing they left us with, they said, listen, you've learned all this stuff this week, but the one thing that we didn't teach you is you need to make sure at your open house this weekend that you ask every single person, would you like to buy this house? Yeah. And it stuck with me. And so when I went to my open house, nobody came. One couple, so I'm locking up, and one couple comes, and they look like the least likely buyers in the world. And I greeted them, and they walked around the house, and they were starting to leave. I said, oh, do you guys want to buy this house? And they turned back and they said, yeah, we do.
Right. Nice.
And so, that started my real estate career. And just because I asked them if they wanted to buy the house. And how many people come to your open house when you used to do them? They come and they go. Are you asking people if they want to put an offer on the house you're in?
Tony, you hit the nail on the head. That's what I do. I never let them leave until I ask them, hey, Tony, even if they don't like the home, I say, well, let's put an offer in, then we can change the negotiation, whatever it may be at that time. But I never let them do the home without saying, hey, let's put in an offer. And Tony, it works 25% of the time.
And listen, if nothing else, it starts a conversation. No, we don't really like this house, and we want to see something else, or they're from. It just starts a whole conversation by asking that one question. If that's the only question you ask of people, I'm okay with that.
I love it. So I don't know how many people know the story about Tony. I'm going to share this with you because I've had the pleasure of meeting Tony's sister, Tammy. Tammy is a Sotheby's agent up in Bend, Oregon, doing super well, Tony. I mean, just shockingly impressive.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him and I was asking him how she got into the industry. Tony, I love this. So Tammy says, because of Tony, he goes, you should have said license. And he motivated me, and literally she followed you. She got her real estate license, and she used to even live across the hallway from you, in the same city. I think it was Ben. She was saying Ben, or it was Ben. Portland. And so I said, how interesting the effect that you have on people, Tony, if they could just follow your advice, because you're not teaching us rocket science, Tony. You're not. You're just teaching us the fundamentals, and if we practice them and execute them, Tony, we get results. That's really you're not reinventing anything. You're not reinventing real estate, Tony. You're not reinventing wholesaling or traditional or conventional, whatever it is. You keep doing it over and over again until you really get brilliant, if not perfect, results.
Well, and I love to use this one sentence that I'm from Eugene, Oregon. I was born in Eugene, and my favorite team is the Oregon Ducks, of course, and I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, their football team started this slogan, win the day. And they started putting it everywhere. And I don't know why, it just stuck with me. Like, you just wake up and I'm going to win today. And if you win today, then you got to go win tomorrow. And if you have your mentality's like that, I think that overall you're going to do better than most.
Win the day. I tell you, I'm going to call this win the day. That's fantastic. So Tony, you probably know this. I didn't have a football team until I met you, and then I saw the Ducks. So I said to Heather, hey, I've got the team, honey. So whenever you post up on social media, I'm like, yeah, go. Meanwhile, I'm not un-American, but I've got my football team, which is the not Liverpool. I love Liverpool, but in Manchester, that's in England. We all have a football team, but now I've got my American football team, which is the Ducks.
Yes, go Ducks.
Yeah, and I love them. I think they're great. And I watch them. They're doing well. Absolutely. College football is great. Tony, thank you for your time, buddy. Let's do Tactics 6 next week. We'll give it the 21st century view. I'll ask you your opinions. I'll go through the book, and then we'll make it all happen sound great and glorious.
Awesome. It sounds good. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Kevin.